This is an emergency transmission from FEMA Region 6 in occupied North America.
There is a war. It's happening now. It will decide the fate of humanity. The time to choose sides has come. We are the resistance. We are the info war.
This was in the British press this week, Alex. Headline, forget the internet, soon there will be the outernet. Company plans to beam free Wi-Fi to every person on Earth from space, was in the London Daily Mail. They're quoting an organization called Media Development Investment Fund in the United States, which is, among its funders are the Open Society Foundations of George Soros. You know that man that has...
Oh, he likes us.
And what they're saying is they want to beam it from space because they care about freedom of expression, you see. So they want to get over the restrictions in China and all this. They're such nice people, and give us internet.
They want to beam it into Russia, overthrow that, exactly.
Yeah. Now, what this is, I would suggest, and there'll be other things too, is another layer on, because when I talk about the internet, what I'm also talking about is the lower levels of the Earth's atmosphere where we interact and live our lives. They want to fill that with so much electromagnetic information broadcasting within the human brainwave and genetic frequency that we are bombarded with basically a
frequency pollution, a jamming signal.
24/7 programming system. This is what smart meters are about. What are they doing? They're creating a Wi-Fi radiation field, yet another one. That's very kind, very sensible, thank you. Within every home and business, that's the idea with the smart grids. And you know, people have said, and rightly too, that what they're doing is being able to see when you open your fridge, how many people's in your house, what room they're in, what you're doing. Yes. But, you know, as they say on a motorbike, the throttle goes both ways. Well, so does the Wi-Fi. You can get information from a location, and you can pick up that.
No, that's on record. And let me expand on this. When I go to Big Bend, where I'd love to go live, but it's in the middle of nowhere, you know, down in South West Texas on the Mexican border, and there's nothing on that side of Mexico either. Your cell phones don't work. Literally, even though I'm at 9,000 feet or whatever, I feel 20 years younger. It's like heaven because there's no Wi-Fi. But now it's not going to matter. They're launching blimps and satellites that are going to blast everything. And there's all these people moving to the countrysides in Europe and worldwide, as you know, to get away from frequency pollution. Sorry, you're not going to get away from it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this is what I'll point I'll come to in a second about trying to run away. You're not trying to run away. We've got to run straight at these people, because if you're trying to run away, you'll run away for a while, and then it'll catch you up. I mean, we've got to deal with it, for goodness sake. Don't run away from it. And so what is happening is that with the smart meters, that's another electromagnetic field, which is not only taking information from your home and business and delivering that to a central point. Information's coming the other way within the frequency of human brainwave activity, so it can feed you impressions, it can feed you perceptions, it can feed you thoughts and beliefs. That's the idea. And what Hollywood is doing, I mean, what are we talking about? A perception deception. Hollywood, my goodness, it's one of the great vehicles for it. You know, I've been 50-odd countries, everywhere you go.
That's where I wanted to go next, though. I want to stop you right there, because I only got like 15 minutes, or 5 minutes of the next hour with you, max. DavidIcke.com joining us right now. Again, I'm Alex Jones, if you just tuned in. David, you know a lot of famous people. I know a lot of famous people. Most of them do not have the courage to go public. I mean, most big Hollywood stars, A-list, most big producers I know, 95% of them won't come on air. But a lot of them have come on air. And in Hollywood, it's not liberal or conservative. They're listening to you. They're listening to me. They're all awake. They hate the old shadowy producers, Sumner Redstone and others that won't let them tell the truth. There's a revolution going on in Hollywood, and I see it in the new Lego movie, in the new Nut Job movie, anti-establishment, how they want to program us. And that's not propaganda. There's a war going on even in Hollywood. I mean, take Alice Walker of The Color Purple and all her big tops, who's a listener of you, a listener of me. She promotes us, gets attacked. My point is that we're going to skip this network break, folks. We're going to skip another break. This is so important. David Icke, I'm saying we are on the edge of winning because this isn't fake. Almost everyone in Hollywood, I've now learned, is a listener of this show, and they talk about you as well. And I'm not on a power trip over that. This is the main enemy brainwashing base, and we, by the grace of the Creator and human consciousness and everything, and our listeners, we've not infiltrated them. They are in the programming system. They know the truth better than us. They're absolutely freaking out. The military's waking up because they're decompartmentalized with our information. This is incredible. So what do you want to say about that? Because I want to be clear. Hollywood is on the verge of a huge awakening and a revolution against the old guys that control it. David Icke.
Well, take Hollywood, take any aspect of this global spider's web, and Hollywood will fit the blueprint. You've got a very few people that call the shots, and you've got everyone else that dance to the shots that are called. What has happened, thanks to the internet up to this point and books and many other, vehicles, is that, yes, the compartmentalized structure is being decompartmentalized. Because before, there was no way that those in the compartmentalized structure could get access to information that only those they knew. So they were always in the dark. They were always a piece in a puzzle they didn't understand. They didn't realize there was a puzzle. They just knew their little piece and they thought that was it. What has happened, because this information has circulated and circulated and circulated, and my goodness me, the number of people that are interested in it now is phenomenal compared with just a few years ago even. Those compartments are breaking down because people lower down in the structure are going, hold on a second, when they hear this information, that makes sense of what I'm doing every day. That makes sense of why I was asked to do this movie and do this scene and read this script. But what I would say, Alex, is yes, people are waking up, but, we can't just hold it at a point where we're waking up while still standing on the other side of the street, knowing more about what's happening and watching it with more understanding of the unfolding.
Yeah, it's kind of like being conscious while you're being roasted. It's almost worse if you don't reverse it.
We've got to cross the street and engage this, right? And there has to be a revolution of the many to refuse to acquiesce to the impositions of the few. And because, those people, I'll say to those people in Hollywood that are well off and have lots and lots of money, but are not part of this whole thing. They may be caught in it, but they're not part of it. I would say this to people in America and around the world, or at the moment, think that they're okay and they're well off or comfortable and it don't really affect them. Well, hold on. There are people now in tent cities in America and homeless in the streets in places like Britain who not long ago considered themselves to be middle class and had a nice house and a big mortgage which they could at that time pay. It turns very quickly because where we're heading is what I call the Hunger Games society. And it's real simple. And my goodness me, can you not see it now? It's for less than 1% to control all wealth, land, water, food production, all of it, to have then a strata of uniformed programs, software programs called the police state, with no ability to process information just to respond to orders. Psychopaths, sociopaths, narcissists, we're seeing them being recruited on a personality basis rather than an ability basis all the time. And under that is planned to be everyone else in a slave masses with a major, massive culling as well, which are subordinate. And those slaves will be subject to microchips and other forms of
forced inoculations. It's already happening. 200 square foot coffin apartments.
this is the point, Alex. When you realize and you know what's happening and you know where it's going, you read the world like an open book. This stuff now, you see these things where you swallow pills and have an edible microchip.
We told people that was coming. Yep.
Which then tell your mobile phone or your doctor's mobile phone when your next dose is due and if you've had it or not. That's all part of this process of forced drugging that this slave...
and they start it when you get allergy medicine over the counter now, swiping your card and telling you the state police are watching you. That's what the smart dust is about, the RFID, in their own words, a total enslavement grid. How do you think the fight against the spiders is going? How is the fight against the technocrats going?
Well, what I would say to everybody in Hollywood or elsewhere, we now have reached the point that pussyfooting around and doing a little bit and keeping your head down, I watch the Alex Jones show, I read that David Icke's books, but I can't say anything because what about my career? Those days, ladies and gentlemen, are over if you have any desire to live in a world that even has a modicum of freedom. There's no more time for messing around and having it an add-on to your life. This is a time to stand up and be counted, to come out the big Hollywood names that are hiding in the shadows at the moment because they fear the consequences. I tell you what, the consequences of not dealing with this now are going to be far, far worse than...
exactly.
Or not doing it, the consequences...
Well, David, people tell me all the time, they go, thank you for your courage. I would have to have blind, crazy courage to not fight this. I'm fighting it because I know how horrible it is where they're taking us, just like you said. Wait, I'm not doing this because I have courage. I'm doing this because I want to survive and have consciousness and freedom and free will for myself and humanity. I hate bondage. I hate these psychopaths that, you know, the whole royal group that you expose, it's all come out, and the dead bodies and the little kids, and the BBC pedophile rings. I mean, my God, it isn't courage fighting these people. My very instinct says we need to absolutely rout them.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, let's look at it. There was a point some time ago where this control grid was not what it is. The manipulation of perception was not as ingrained as it is becoming among large numbers of people who are not waking up. So as this moves on, more and more people who are not waking up become more and more programmed, more and more incapable of free thought and ever seeing what it is. So we can't wait until, because what happens, and I've talked about this before, is they push the gate. In other words, they'll push the agenda on. And if they don't meet resistance, then they'll walk through the gate to the next gate. And then this is how it moves on. So we have to, when are we going to draw a line in the sand? When are people, just use this analogy for now, but an analogy for humanity. When are the people in Hollywood that understand some of what's going on, and indeed some of them a lot of what's going on, how long are you going to stay silent? What, until there's a knock on the door? I mean, there won't be anyone around then. Come on, we have to get on with it now. And never in my 25 years nearly of doing this, never have there been more open minds to seeing this. People are opening their minds now to things they would have laughed and dismissed by reflex action before. This is a fantastic opportunity we're facing now.
Ask yourselves, what are you doing in this time of great challenge? What are you doing to unlock minds?
But just briefly, getting into this, they know as the social engineers that we would respond like this. But so much of what they're doing is backfiring. I've learned that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. They're not invincible. They know how to manipulate, but they don't have any heart, any guts, anything, because it is very unhuman what the establishment does. So how are they going to counter the breakaway where people either become zombies or other people under attack, I find, are even becoming more enlightened as a spiritual but also genetic resistance. You could almost call it good mutations spiritually, to use a strange term that I'm coining, that will actually cause humanity to hammer back.
Well, to understand what's happening and how we're manipulated, we really do have to have a greater grasp of the nature of reality. And the body is a holographic projection of the true self, which is just consciousness, awareness. And if you get pulled, we see everything's about a point of attention. Your point of attention could be that wide, or it can be infinite. And if it's infinite, that point of attention is going to see everything from a massive, symbolically, it's going to see it from the top of the mountain, top of the hill. If your point of attention is pulled only into the five senses, you're only going to see the world that the five senses can decode and you can perceive, which is tiny. And so this whole idea of manipulating human perception is to pull our point of attention into the five senses. Can I see it, touch it, taste it? Hear it? Okay, it must exist then. And transhumanism is taking that another step further, because it's putting your point of attention even deeper into the non-expanded consciousness level of self and into the senses, into the technological senses in terms of transhumanism. That's what it's all about. And this kind of radiation, massive radiation field broadcasting within the human brainwave frequency is designed again to hold us in the five senses. Once you open your mind to your true self, consciousness, and start to think for yourself and not be aware of the way that we are programmed to respond and programmed to perceive, suddenly the world is not little dots that aren't connected. The world is a tapestry that is so blatant.
And then you don't care about the system's world anymore. You see what a fraudulent, ugly mess it is, and then you're free from them, and then they can't be your masters. David, in closing, tell us about the book and tell us about the TV venture you've been launching.
Well, first of all, the book's The Perception Deception. It's nearly 1,000 pages. It's got 900 illustrations and images and 32 pages of original color art. And I'm coming up to my 62nd birthday, and I tell you, I have never done anything as important in my life.
This is your Masterwork?
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't be happier with it, and it's between two covers. It pulls it together, and it goes so deep in the rabbit hole. But it's not 1,000 pages. Oh my goodness, no! It's a story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, as well as a massive amount of information. The People's Voice, the television network, which is global on the internet 24/7. I had the idea for that last May, and we got it to air on the 25th of November. It's not my television station. I was just a co-founder of it. This is just a vehicle to get this information out 24/7.
Absolutely.
Across the whole spectrum of subjects, everything from the conspiracy that we perceive in the daily events to the nature of reality, all these things.
It's a decoding centered in power, free humanity. David Icke, thank you so much for the time.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.
The InfoWars crew absolutely loves coffee because we love being awake. And I am somewhat of a connoisseur of coffee. So many times you go to a restaurant or even to a coffee shop and the coffee tastes like garbage. And in all the different coffees I've tried, my favorite is grown in the high mountains, in shade, Arabica, on the border with Guatemala in southern Mexico by the Chiapas farmers. I make sure we've done the research. I make sure it's the very best product that we can offer you when I put my name on it. And I believe, and it's my taste, so you may differ, that this is the best coffee in the world from southern Mexico. Wake Up America Patriot Blend, 100% organic, Arabica shade grown. And then we have the Immune Support, 100% organic coffee, infused with a special type of mushroom known to boost the immunity.
This coffee is seriously so smooth. I normally have to douse my coffee with cream and sugar and cinnamon and all kinds of tasty treats, but this, I drink this black. It is so good.
Well, that's why I like it, is that it has a kick, it has really good caffeine in it, it has a good clean wake up that lasts for a long time, doesn't give me a headache, but it's so smooth, it's so delicious. Just try it out for yourself. I'm telling you, this is my favorite coffee. We went through a lot of trouble to bring you this. Just try it, and I think you'll be hooked like we are here at InfoWars. Well, folks, find out for yourself and support the information war today. It's all available at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.